So, what exactly is a hitchhiker to the future? Welcome back to the Idea Supply Chain, where we take a look at where ideas come from and what makes those ideas valuable. Over the past week or so, I've been going down some rabbit holes of past projects that have ended up in various states of sitting off to the side, let's say, collecting dust. Um, this is all based on like conversations I've had with people and just ideas I see on Twitter. And a couple things really stood out to me. First of all, one of the projects I had was Building Public University, which was this idea of a collaborative kind of university for teaching people how to build in public and basically just kind of present themselves online in a valuable way. Again, ideas, value, a lot of things are rhyming. And as part of that, there was the Build in Public Manifesto, which I thought actually did a great job of capturing a lot of the ideas and values that I talk about quite a bit. So that was pretty cool to see. I'd actually forgotten I'd written that manifesto. I recently wrote a new manifesto, and it aligns kind of, but it's also very different. So that was cool to see. But the main reason that I started off this video the way I did was another project, which was called Hitchhiker's Guide to the Future. And one of the things I've really set myself up to do is to live in the future. And I've recently started reading this book, Pattern Breakers. And one of the things the author talks about is living in the future as a way to unlock a lot of potential opportunity by understanding what inflection points are happening and how you can kind of build for those inflection points to kind of break away from the status quo, right? And that led me back to this idea of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Future, because I was like, actually, there's a lot of things in there that I want to bring back. It was something that unfortunately kind of stalled out a little bit, but rereading some of the blogs that I'd written on it, I think really did a great job of capturing some of the views I had, some of the ideas. And so I've been working over the past day or so on really defining what exactly a hitchhiker to the future is. And most importantly, how it differs from the status quo. And so I kind of put together this like list of hitchhikers to the future and status quo, and have these like different descriptions of each, because I'm using this as kind of the basis for finding my people. Because I realize there's a very specific set of people that I like working with, and I realize they've got a lot of traits in common. And so I was trying to identify what exactly those traits are. And so to kind of begin with, they've got an abundance mindset. If you hear me talking about abundant systems, and, I talk a lot about the concept of abundance because I believe we live in an abundant world. We just haven't figured out how to actually create systems that help people take advantage of that. And so it's kind of a very individualized thing right now. So they have the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. They're also living in the future versus living kind of in the present/past. They're not trying to hold up old institutions or anything like that. They're really building things new. They're looking towards the future in a positive light. And that leads me into the next thing, which is they are optimistic. They are not pessimistic or cynical. They're optimistic because we've had new technology breakthroughs constantly. That leads us to a place where, the future is brighter than today is, and they don't let themselves get bogged down by kind of the negativity of the news cycles that we find ourselves caught in. They tend to build communities, not companies. And so as part of this, I think this captures a lot of what the creator economy ends up being. And so people are very individualized, and, solopreneurs, indie hackers, creators, all of that. And they work together in kind of these loosely coupled connections that end up being more of a community structure than a company structure, with clear hierarchies and, roles and responsibilities and things like that. And the reason for that is they expect everybody to be high agency. They surround themselves with high agency people because they are themselves high agency. And so you find people working together that are there because they want to, and then they also believe they can make a real dent in the world, and so they do that. That's something that makes a huge difference in outcomes versus just kind of being passive and going with the flow. Um, they're multiplayer versus single player, cooperative versus competitive, kind of player characters versus NPCs. Um, and I think this is a big indicator of like being digitally native, right? Like understanding that being online is a reflection of your real world self, and you're not trying to be someone you're not online. It's all about kind of that authenticity, and playing the person that you are online in this kind of wide game of life, right? um and I think we've kind of used this term creator as a catch-all, and I think that's part of it. But what's really at the heart of it is that creators believe they can change the world around them to make it a more beautiful place, to make it reflect the vision that they have internally. And so they're doing everything they can to reflect that vision in the real world. And then finally, the last thing I came up with is that they purposefully scroll instead of infinitely scroll. And you were kind of familiar with the timeline, the infinite scrolling, the doom scrolling, right? Um, what if we actually made that more purposeful? What if we made that actually mean something? And that's kind of getting into the new project I've been working on, this idea of collective scroll. So anyway, just wanted to share some insights into what I was thinking about in terms of Hitchhikers to the Future and what that means. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, leave a note here. I'll be putting something together for people who believe this way because I think it's important for us to find each other. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.